What is depression? The complete guide for teens. Hey everyone, my name is Christine XP. Welcome to the Brain XP community. I hope you feel at home. In today's video, I'm answering the question, what is depression? More specifically, what is teen depression? So let's get into the video. Quick note, I am not a mental health professional. Everything I say today comes from personal lived experience, so please keep that in mind. Okay, so what is depression? It's important that we familiarize ourselves with the word depression and its definition. We hear people use the word depression in many different situations, but it's oftentimes used very loosely. So the real definition of depression is feelings of severe despondency and dejection. Depression is a really deep word, and if you think about it, people who are struggling with feelings of severe despondency and dejection don't deserve to have to listen to people use the word depression so loosely. So we should all be very kind and considerate when we use the word depression, even if there's no bad intention behind it at all. It's about training our minds to be more aware. Now, before we move forward and start talking about depression signs and symptoms and all that good stuff, I need to mention I have 2 free giveaways in this video for all of my mental health warriors who are battling depression right now. Everything I talk about in this video is nicely and neatly packaged in an infographic that I created for you all for you to save it and reference it whenever you need to. I also created a list of my personal favorite coping skills for battling depression. Again, you can save that, download it, and reference it whenever you need to, and it's super handy. Both of these giveaways are linked in the description box and are free to download, so just click those links and you are all set. There are many different signs of depression. Personally, I withdrew from everything that I love to do. Playing soccer, answering questions in class, hanging out with friends. These are things that came very naturally to me, so it was uncharacteristic of me to not participate in these things anymore. Everyone is different, but one common theme that I've noticed, not only in myself but other people that are depressed as well, is that our personality traits seem to be a bit off. This possibly can mean that there's an underlying cause of depression. At least for me, I seem to be a different person. Like, I was still Christine, I had the same body, but it just didn't seem like Christine was there. It's a bit tricky to decide whether we're experiencing depression, hormones, puberty, just changes and things like that. So it's never a bad thing to track triggers and emotions and feelings and rate your mood just to see how things are going for you on a regular basis. Tracking can really help us decide if depression is the underlying issue, and we will talk about professional help later in the video, but it also is never a bad thing to seek professional help. It is hard to face depression alone, and whether we want the support or not, it's never a bad thing to ask for help. There are some common signs that I've seen in myself and other teenagers when it comes to depression. A few of them are isolation, sadness, crying, feelings of hopelessness, lack of motivation, and inability to focus. Of course, since I'm not a mental health professional, I'm not going to describe or explain these signs, but just know that I've seen them a lot in teens who are depressed. Sometimes behavioral and emotional changes in teens are self-explanatory and are easy to identify, and sometimes they can be the most confusing things in the world. So we have to give ourselves some patience and some grace as we face this real mental health challenge of depression. There's some great articles online that go way more in depth on a professional level about signs and symptoms of depression, so I'm going to link some in the description box. Be sure to check those out if you want some more professional guidance. These articles can lay out groundwork in a much better way than I can, so I highly recommend that you check those out. The articles I mentioned do go into causes of depression as well, but I do want to share that causes of depression are unique to each person. There might be a common theme, such as losing a loved one or having a dramatic change in life, but there are certain experiences that individuals face that can cause depression that other people might not understand. For example, I believe my depression was caused when my best friends and I drifted apart. No one died, no one purposely hurt one another. We simply grew apart, and that was enough to cause my depression. Some people can't comprehend how that experience could have possibly caused such a severe depression in me. But that doesn't make me weak, it just makes my depression experience personalized. All of us have personal experiences, so we might have similar causes of depression, but we each have our own unique twist. I personally believe the best depression test is seeing a mental health professional because they have expertise and can help us decide if depression is really what we're facing. I'm not saying that all online depression tests are fake or a scam, because some of them are actually extremely educational, but from my personal experience, I just know that I could have taken a depression test online thinking that I get all the answers that I needed. But without seeing a professional, I would have never developed a plan to overcome the depression. I would have never started seeing a therapist. I would have tried to battle everything on my own, and that's a very, very painful battle to go through, in addition to the depression symptoms that we're already facing. So nothing against online depression tests for teens and the education that they might provide, but I just personally think seeing a professional and having a professional in my corner is the best way to go. Depression felt like sadness to me. It felt empty. It felt like there was just no point in getting out of bed, and there was no interest or motivation or hope for life. As always, everyone has a different depression experience, but for me, I just felt so lonely. Even when I had tons of support, I still felt alone. Depression is not an easy battle, so please do not beat yourself up for feeling things or having emotions that you don't like. It's really about managing those emotions and releasing them in healthy ways, which is called coping, which we're going to talk about next. Coping with depression is 100% possible. Dealing with depression as a teenager is not fun, but by coping we can learn how to manage life battles that may come up for us later in life as well. It's unfortunate that we have to face these battles at such a young age, but it does prepare us for life and things to come in the future. So as a reminder, please remember to download the giveaway of my personal favorite coping skills list because it could be super helpful. And even if it's not super helpful for you, we can always do the trial and error method. And basically that just means that you pick out some coping skills, you try them, see if they work. If they don't, you toss them, you pick some new ones, and you keep going until you found the coping skills that are best for you. And although it can be a long process and very frustrating for some people as they try to find their coping skills, it's important to keep trying because coping is how we overcome. Now, depression can also be accompanied by other mental health challenges such as stress, anxiety, psychosis, etc. And I have already made videos on coping with anxiety and coping with depression that I'll link in the description box, but let me know if you want me to go more in depth on any other particular mental health challenges so that you can learn how to cope with those while you're coping with depression. Now, there are many different treatment options for depression, such as therapy, prescribed medication, but it's important to remember for medication that we don't want to experiment on our own. That's something that we work with a professional with who prescribes the medication. And now that we're already learning to cope with our challenges, having a professional in our corner is just an extra boost for us to help us track and monitor everything that's happening. And as a bonus, there are many mental health professionals such as therapists and psychiatrists who specialize in the teenage range. So we have people ready to help us. And with that, I think I've covered almost everything about depression that I could think of. If you guys have any other comments about this or questions, leave them below. And please remember to give this video a big thumbs up. Also comment if you found anything helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Brain XP community by following us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you so much for watching this video. Always remember, stay positive, keep smiling, and I will see you later. Bye guys!